It is another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. I'm Aaron Smith, joined as always by the better half of the Bearcat Brunch, Jeff Howell, and the self-proclaimed, our better half. It's fine. The self-proclaimed best producer in the city, Ed Mayhall. We have a lot to unpack here that happened on Sunday. All of it between the hours of 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock. But before we get into all of that, Ed, how's your week been?
Good weekend. Good weekend. A little snow on Sunday, but Saturday we got out in Bryce's basketball game. He scored his first point. We won, which was pretty nice. He had like 4 or 5 rebounds, which is really nice. So
nice.
Yeah. Good little weekend.
Jeffrey?
Basketball got canceled for us this weekend, which is good because the game was supposed to be at 3:15, and there was I was gonna have to have cell phone rocking while coaching, but the snow came in and saved the day, and they canceled all the games all day, and so we got to stay home and watch the football game. It was good.
Nice. The 8-year-old in his basketball game, I think he hit like 7 or 8 shots. I didn't end up going to get to watch it because he had a fever the night before. Didn't assume he was playing until he showed up to pick up his jersey to go to the game, and Brennix was sleeping. And so I was ill prepared for any of those things to transpire. But I did get to hear about it.
Oh, good.
Nice.
But Brennix is now scooting everywhere.
Oh, it's over for you
in
then.
trouble.
Yeah, it's over.
It's all over.
Yeah.
She doesn't know which way she's going. She's going backwards.
It doesn't matter. It's all over.
It's all over.
I just want to harken back to a time maybe 6-8 weeks ago when Aaron said, I just can't wait till she's moving.
And everybody said,
yeah, your life
dumbass.
is over. Yeah.
It seems cool beforehand.
It's
when
still
they're
fun.
When they're just laying there, you're it won't be so much fun when they're moving around, and then like they start moving around, and then you hear them,
even when they start moving around, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Until they start getting into
That's where I'm at.
And then they're like, pulling baskets off of things, and
I just never realized
them.
I never realized how much dog hair we have around this house.
There's that. There's that.
There's that too. They if you just attach like a small broom to them, they will.
Put one of those Swiffers on her belly.
Yeah, Swiffer.
Like
I'm thinking of making a duct tape onesie that she just wears around.
Yeah.
Like, but the duct tape's on the outside, right? Like,
no, a Swiffer. You just tape a Swiffer, like double-sided tape, a Swiffer to her belly, and just let her Swiffer the whole house while she's crawling around.
We'll figure it out.
This is when it got real for me, Jeff. So, like, you move stuff up levels that they're not allowed to have, right?
Yeah, correct.
And the final boss is the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And
one
day,
hit the ice button.
And then one day, she was quiet for a few minutes, and I think I was in the living room on a call doing BCJ stuff. And when they're quiet, it's the worst because something's happening. Something's wrong. I was like, hold on a second. And she had taken a stool from our table because we have one of those high top dining room tables. She had taken a stool, taken it into the kitchen, and put it next to the counter. She climbed on top of the stool to climb on top of the counter to get to the top of the fridge. And I was like, oh, she's evolving.
What was even up there?
Nothing major at that. Like at that point, by the time you have to put it to the top of the fridge, it's just stuff that she like won't stop trying to get into. Like,
so it wasn't like the knife block or anything.
No. It was I can't even remember. It was so long, but it was something stupid that you're just like that she's always trying to get. So you're okay. Then you put it on the dining room table. Then you put it on top of this. Then you put it on, and you're like you're stacking levels, and she's just like parkouring the house. And yeah, she was just standing there on like looking at me like, ha, Now you're stuck because I can get as high up as anything in this bitch.
Once they're able to like move, and then they realize like, well, to get higher, all I got to do is move this chair because like I can get myself in the chair, and then like
So
I
if I
came
move
downstairs.
the chair, I can get
And
in
my
the
oldest
chair.
was like standing on top of like we have a like a bar, or it's not really a bar, it's an island in the middle of the kitchen where they like eat breakfast and things. And I came down and he was like standing on it like this, you know. And like, well,
Yeah.
the world is your oyster now. Like whatever you want, you can have. And since then, all of them, they all figure, and like as you have like as there are like younger ones, and they learn from the older ones. So like earlier and earlier, they're able to like do these things that
because the older ones are like, hey, why don't you get on top of that chair?
Right. Yeah, why don't you climb up?
Let me show you how.
Dad's not gonna yell at you if you climb up there and pull down all of like the cupcakes and the whatever else is up there.
The young cute one. Yeah.
Oh no.
No, that's life.
It's great. Things I have to look forward to.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got bonus kids, so they're totally going to be trying to screw you over.
Oh yeah.
Like Brennix is going to be there. Like, let's get at Aaron. Let's make Aaron miserable.
I'm certain that's.
Oh man, I'm gonna pay those bonus kids.
They're all going to be conspiring. It's fine.
Yeah.
Let me know what their cash apps are.
Pin it on the girl. That's his soft spot.
Give me their cash apps. I'll be like, hey, I need you to take all of Aaron's headbands. I'll give you $10 in your cash app.
All right. The Bearcats did play on Saturday or Sunday. Let's get to that first.
They played last week too.
That's the quickest thing I want to get to.
Yeah, go ahead and knock that out real quick.
Well, they played South Florida on Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
And won 85-69. It was a great game.
The first half was maybe the best half I can remember.
DDJ was back
with a vengeance,
yep.
For sure. You're knocking your mic around with your nervous knee.
I stopped.
Nailed it.
Can we take this to the desk?
Both DeJulius and Landers end up with 21 in that one. Not a great game for Vic. Dan Skillings, though, ended up with 11 in that one as Cincinnati cruises to a victory for I don't know how many straight, but last time they lost there was a decade ago. And they'll go into the Big 12 without having lost to South Florida in over a decade. But they win 85-69 in Tampa. And then you ran into the buzzsaw known as Penny Hardaway and the Memphis Tigers. Not a great game. We did mention that Vic didn't have a great game against South Florida. Had a fantastic game against Memphis.
Season high. Career high. 22.
Career high. Yep, 22. 10 rebounds, so he does finish with a double-double there. Added in 3 steals as well. Landers finishes with 18 and 6. DeJulius 15 and 6 assists. Micah, not a great game.
No.
Odie, not a great game.
No.
Jeremiah Davenport hits 3 clutch threes in the second half, but overall, not a great game.
One of those tied it up, didn't it? Something like that.
Yes, at 50.
Yep.
Josh Reed got 16, might be the most minutes he's had all season, if I'm not mistaken. But Dan had not a great game.
15.
Memphis is good.
Memphis is good. They're not great, but they are good. I feel like if we would have played the way that we played against Florida, it would have been a better game. But you win some, you lose some. I hate losing a penny. A lot of technicals in that game. Weren't there like 2 or 3 for taunting?
Taunting, flopping.
Flopping, yeah, a lot of flopping in that game. Nolly, you thought it was gonna be a good game when Nolly came out and busted a 3,
So we
but
had
then
two fouls in the first 3 minutes.
and we didn't score again for like 5 minutes. I believe at one point the announcer said Nolly's the leading scorer in this game, and I said he's the only scorer in this game right now. It's 3 to like 8 or something.
Well, I mean, the first 10 minutes of the game, I feel like took about a half hour because of all the early fouls that were called, the double tech and the flopping call. And I don't think he actually hurt his ankle when he fell. Maybe he hurt it, but I don't think it was hurt real bad. I said this last night. The trainer was just sitting there with him holding his hand. Like he didn't actually, I don't even know if he touched his ankle. He's just kind of kneeling there in front of him.
You'll be okay.
I know that they were trying to say, like, see, look, he's not flopping. How's he flopping? He almost had to go into the locker room, and then he goes to the bench and kind of hangs out there until he comes back in, and then doesn't look ginger on his ankle the entire game.
Drinking Gatorade.
Not to be compared to like Patrick Mahomes, who goes in at halftime and does whatever has to be done to come back and be able to play on an ankle. Not saying there were shots involved, but I'm saying there were shots involved on
Shane
that
Graham.
one. Yeah. Real quick to call him out. But
do you think, and just real quick, and then we could get off this topic, do you think the snowstorm and the lack of crowd at that game had an effect?
Oh, on the Bearcats game?
Yeah. Do you think that would have been a closer game if we would have had an arena full of loud fans? Do you think that they would have fed off that energy a little bit more?
Well, I hate Sunday 1:00 basketball games.
Yeah, I hate those too.
I think they're hard games to get up for by comparison to football games at 1:00. But again, that's things that people prepare all week for, as opposed to a basketball game where you're kind of like rolling out of bed, especially college students on a Sunday, trying to get up and hype. It's just not the same atmosphere as you're going to get on like a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Even a Thursday night, a Wednesday night game, probably more college hype than you have at 1:00 on a Sunday. But yeah, I certainly don't think the snow and the football game helped anything when you had the memo go out to all students, show up with an ID and you get in for free. And I believe it was either 8 minutes or 12 minutes into the game that you could come down from the upper bowl to the lower bowl and just sit wherever you wanted. Largely, I would guess, because they were on ESPN2, and it looks terrible when nobody's in the lower bowl and you have to fill that up. So it looks like a game worth of shit on.
That happened to me one year. Buddy and I bought tickets. They were playing at, I guess it was called US Bank Arena at the time. Yeah, we had way up top seats, and this guy comes up to us and goes, these your guys' seats? And like, there's nobody sitting around us. I'm like, well, this guy would kick us out of these seats. And I'm like, yeah, these are our seats. He goes, you guys want lower seats? We're like, sure. How much? He goes, no. We need people down in the lower bowl. You can go have. He gave us 2 tickets on the floor behind the basket. We were about 10 people away from Nick Lachey, so that was a sweet. So we get that kind of situation happening for you. It's a nice little thing.
Yeah, so I think that the weather and the football game definitely played a factor in attendance, and that sucks when it's a game like Cincinnati, Memphis. You hate that happens against them. I want to say there was a game against Memphis a couple seasons ago where the weather affected it as well. Was it Memphis or Houston? I don't. It was a big game where
I'll say it was Houston.
Snow also affected it. Regardless, you hate seeing that happen against a big game opponent.
Against Memphis State.
The jerseys are dope. I like the Memphis State jerseys, especially locked up against the Cats jerseys. I think that's a fantastic look.
They've done that twice now, and I hope they do it every time they play.
I like it.
Never again.
I mean, but I'm sure at some point you'll see like a Memphis, Cincinnati out of conference game schedule, whatnot, what have you. Like, might be 5-10 years down the road, but I want to say they need to wear the Cats versus Memphis State every time. every time. It looks so fantastic.
It looks great. I love it. Even the announcer at one point said Memphis State's up by 6, and I'm like,
He
like,
said Memphis State almost the whole game.
Yeah.
That was an older guy that grew up with Memphis State. Like, so when he saw Memphis State, he was like, I'm all in. Memphis State.
Chad, when do you think the last time was that we won a quote-unquote big game?
Illinois. Last year.
There wasn't any other game last year outside of Illinois that...
Nope.
God.
It's Illinois. It's not even... I mean, Tulane is looking like a fairly big win, given what they've done. But, it's Illinois.
Illinois.
Gross.
I should have put my jersey on.
Jeff, any thoughts on hoops? Were you able to catch?
Please don't, man. Please don't.
What?
Put your jersey on.
Why?
I don't know.
I have a no nipples policy.
I put it on over the sweater. Think so.
No, I wasn't able to really. I mean, the game was on here at the house. I was
one of those situations.
I was literally paying zero attention to it.
Not able to engage at all.
Like Declan was, talking about how he wanted the Bengals game to go and the way that, how the Bengals needed to start. And so we were having a very in-depth conversation about football, and the basketball game was going on behind. And I was like, it just seemed very sloppy and not like anything I really wanted to engage in at that point in the day.
I don't blame you. In any case, Cincinnati drops the ball, loses 75-68 against Memphis at home. You gotta figure out ways to win big games, especially going into the Big 12. It's going to feel like every game is a big game. I mean, you look at the top 25 right now. You look at any of these teams playing each other at any point in time, and it's going to be a gauntlet of a conference. UCF Superfan says DDJ seems like he's regressing. He was erratic, just needs to chill.
There's no consistency anywhere across the entire team.
I think that's probably the fairest way to put it. The closest thing to consistency I think you've seen this season has been Vic.
Yeah. That's fair. That is a fair little
and I like to see
there.
it.
I mean, the other thing that's been, I mean, like even JD's not like doing anything consistent. Like,
Nolly's probably been your second most
like,
consistent player. I mean, he'll put up double digits, whether they're crunch time numbers or whether it's just floating to, between 14 and 16. He's always getting you double digits, but Vic's almost a double every time he's on the floor.
Like I think that's what is like maybe most frustrating for me is that like 1 minute, and like Wes has talked about this before in his press conferences, like 1 minute they look like they can, they play with the best teams in the country, and then 2 minutes later they look like they've never held a basketball or played like a second of an actual organized basketball game.
Right.
So I don't know how that gets fixed. I don't know how that I don't know where you take that, how that is able to be built on. That's UCF Superfan says, like watching NBA Jam. They're either on fire or a block of ice on the rim. But it's a
NBA Jam.
It'd be a fairly interesting case study, for being honest. I mean,
I want to play NBA Jam.
You've got a team that should, I mean, I don't think anybody thought that they were winning national championships this year or anything, but like they're just kind of the average.
Yeah,
there's just this like there's not.
I don't feel like it's inspired basketball at times. I think they're looking for.
I don't know.
Well, Chad said last night that he thought that they're playing to keep up rather than to win.
Okay.
That's fair.
especially in the big games. Like you're
I
playing
like that.
two.
I like that description.
I don't think you have a guy who on this team has that killer instinct that will step on a throat, will do what you have to do to win these big games, that takes the team on his back. Dave did it against Xavier, but it wasn't enough when you only have one guy doing it. Landers tried to do it against Arizona. Again, not enough. But in these big games, you haven't had a guy really step up and show out as I'm a dog and I'm going to eat.
Well, I mean, maybe maybe the guys they got right now just aren't maybe they're just role playing kind of guys. Like maybe they're that 1B, not the 1A.
Betas, not alphas, huh?
I'm not saying anything crazy like that. I'm saying
Chad said that it's like a car where you have all the parts but no engine. You turn the key and it's just not, the engine's not turning over. It's just click, 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 click.
Just running a bit rough.
That's usually when I change the battery.
Yeah. Speaking of, how's your lawnmower?
You turn it off and turn it back on.
I tried that. Yeah, it's blowing out white smoke, and I don't know why. I tried doing an oil change. I tried changing the oil filter. I tried changing the air filter. I gotta take it somewhere to get fixed.
If they fed Vic the whole game, we probably win that game. Wes obviously figured something out at halftime. It started a little bit before halftime, but they certainly were doing all they could to feed Vic. I don't know.
Does this team really? Do they just still not have an identity?
They don't.
I think that's part of the problem though. When you don't have a true leader, like I don't see a true vocal leader out on the floor. Like I still think it could be Nolly, but he's just not stepping into that role or still too new to where you can't really tell Davenport or DeJulius what to do as the newest guy. Despite being maybe the best talent on the floor at any given moment.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. It's like I don't. You're right. This team doesn't has not met a three that they don't like from anywhere. And I mean,
at any time,
at any point. I mean, just does that.
It's also, for context, it's also one of the 3 or 4 best 3-point shooting teams in 30 years.
Our team is?
That's bananas.
Yeah. Wild.
Percentage-wise, this team is shooting over 35% from 3. They have multiple guys over 40%. Like, this is as good a 3-point shooting team as UC has had since Bob Huggins became the head coach in 1989.
Can you do me a favor and not share that stat with JD?
What? Maybe it's because it's
because when you rely on shooting, you are relying on something that fails 65% of the time, Jeff.
Yeah. I guess it's because as Cincinnati fans, as we've all grown up to like have this like. I mean, we know what we had with like Mick, right? Like we just like took the air out of the crushed teams defensively and then like scored enough to win.
Here's where this team is here's the difference between Mick and Bob Huggins teams. And I will always say, Jeff, this is the difference in why those teams won. Whatever happened, you could count on in the last 5 minutes, the opponent was going to struggle mightily to score. And that made the game because it was going to be a low possession game. It was going to be played in the 50s and 60s. And in the final 5 minutes of the game, the other team was going to score 3 points. So if you could score 8 or 10 or whatever, you could close the game. You could finish. And we have not seen a team yet, this iteration, a West team yet, consistently in the final 5 minutes say, it doesn't matter what happens. You're not going to score enough to win this game because we're going to shut you out. That was always like I wrote about it. I didn't cover the Huggins years, but I wrote about it a ton through the Mick years. Final 5 minutes, the defense just had that ability to crank it up in the final 5 minutes and shut teams out. That's where they got in trouble in the tournament.
It's fair.
Because you're playing teams that have alphas. You're playing teams that have guys you can throw the ball to and get a bucket in the final 5 minutes of games. That it's really hard to take it away because great offensive players will almost always beat good defense in basketball because they can make guarded shots, right?
Yeah,
Like it doesn't matter how good you guard somebody, they're going to put the ball in the basket. And right now, I think Wes wants that to be this team's identity, but especially without Newman and without Finney, like that game could have been a lot different if Rob Finney had played all season and you could just say, Rob, stay in front of Kendrick Davis. Don't let him turn the corner, get downhill, and put a foul on you and get to the free throw line and get 21 points on a night where he was 4 for 10 from the floor. He didn't shoot it great from three, but he still had 21 points because he kept drawing contact and getting fouls and getting to the free throw line.
I think that's something that, I mean, myself included, but like I think a lot of people too have kind of they don't recall the fact that like John Newman hasn't been playing this year. Like, I mean, very briefly he played this year. Like that's a big piece to this puzzle that hasn't been out there. And then without Finney out there, who is also a good defender, like.
Well, I think people are like thinking it's like the Bengals, right? Next man up, but like this bench isn't deep enough to be next man up sort of situation.
The roster is still being built.
Exactly.
I mean, we're not like I'm not sitting here saying any of this stuff to like.
No. I'm just trying to like explain from my perspective,
right?
Why things are still a work in progress.
Yeah. At the same time, you're getting invaluable minutes for both Reed and Skillings that maybe they wouldn't have gotten otherwise if you had rotational minutes for Newman and Finney.
And Jeff, I would imagine if you went back to 1989 and 1990, Huggins teams weren't squeezing people out in the final 5 minutes of games. And if you go back to 2006 and 2007, Knicks teams weren't squeezing teams out in the final 5 minutes of games. It's something that comes with building a culture, building
and getting all
a
your
stable
guys
foundation, getting your guys in, having your guys healthy. Like, you know, what does this look like if John Newman's injury was a 3-week injury?
A lot different, possibly.
And he came back like, you know, the 1st of December instead of being out for 3 months, 4 months, maybe the whole season.
Where you're not hoping to get, you know, somewhere between 10 and 15 from Reed and Skillings. And if that falls short, then
I think
detrimental.
No, I think the plan for Newman is what everybody has wanted, and that was less JD, because then you would have had the ability to play Landers some at the 4 because you wouldn't have been so incredibly thin at the 2 and 3. So you play Micah, Dave, Landers, and Newman together with Vic. And then JD can come in and then Landers moves to the 3 and Newman comes out, or, you know, JD comes in and plays with Newman. Like it just changes the entire setup of how the rotation was supposed to have worked coming into the season, where you could have played JD as more of a heat check, you know, offensive threat, because you had high major guys. Like they've had to go to Odie. And as we've seen, Odie has things that he does well, but he's not a complete player.
He eats rebounds, but
yeah, but he's not
most
a complete.
Of the time he's playing with a set of batteries that are on low.
Fair.
At least in terms of putting the ball in the basket.
Yeah, it's just
he does everything else how you want him to do it.
He had a layup that should have been a dunk, and he missed the layup.
That's the strangest thing I've ever seen. I think Aaron called it the yips.
He's got the yips. He's pump faking ghosts.
It's just so odd. It is so odd to me to see these like clips that people put up on Twitter, and it's like it's like I have moments where like my brain just like short circuits, but that is very much what it looks like.
I said this the other night. Like, he's the strongest guy, arguably, at any point in time on the court. Just pound for pound. Just go up 2 hands and flush. Like, you don't need to pump fake or all this wild shit. Just go up 2 hands, dunk.
Is he actually on the court though?
When he's on the court.
Yeah, but is it actually him on the court?
We're not playing this game, Ed.
Just thoughts I have.
I'm sorry, I said I wasn't going to talk a lot about basketball, and then I did. So,
all right. I don't have anything else on basketball. I don't want to talk about basketball anymore because there was a much more important game that happened on Sunday. It was the Cincinnati Bengals as they took on the AFC darling.
Is it really the AFC darling?
Not really.
I mean,
I mean the NFL say like.
I think the Chiefs are a little bit more like
Jeff.
It's between the two of them.
Jeff, go look at Super Bowl predictions from every media member in the country.
I mean, that's also fair.
Before the season, it was Buffalo unanimously, almost unanimously when the season started.
That's something else I want to talk about, but I'm sure we'll roll into that at some point.
So the Bengals have to go to Buffalo, and they have to play the Buffalo Bills at home, despite not having a game against Buffalo and being forced into a coin flip if they had to play the Ravens. There was no coin flip involved here, despite the game not being played against the Cincinnati Bengals, where had they won, they would have hosted the Buffalo Bills.
You know what though?
It's fine.
Maybe we don't win that game at a neutral field.
Regardless, it's one of the chips on the shoulder. I don't think that.
You're not allowed to do that. You are not allowed to have self-motivating.
You can't do that.
You can't be mad about things and use it for your own motivation if the rest of the people.
Every team sells tickets.
Fuck all that noise. Yes, all right. Every team did sell tickets. I'm not arguing that. What I'm arguing is the fact that they had a game slated for neutral site because the game wasn't played. Why Cincinnati was not afforded that same thing and had to go to Buffalo
they said they talked about it. They wouldn't have enough turnaround time to get a neutral field set up.
Apparently, it only takes 24 hours.
Mind you, it only took them 4 days. It only took them like 4 days to completely move the Bills game to Detroit whenever that big snowstorm hit up there during the season.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very strong point there, Jeff.
So Cincinnati travels to Buffalo and takes on Josh Allen and the Damar Hamlin-less Buffalo Bills. Although he was there, he was in attendance. Maybe.
Come on now, you're not one of those.
I did not see his face a single time.
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
If you get on the internet right now, there are pictures of his face.
I will not say that he died there. There are people who think that he is dead, or that he died here.
Just think that he wasn't in good enough shape to be at the game, so they
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you have shown his face saying hi? And Josh Allen says in an interview, that's just his swag. I have seen 0 pictures of him dressed in that swag, covering his face with a.
There was a blizzard. There was a blizzard. How you
not in the box with a ski mask.
UCF superfan said, "How do we know he wasn't propped up like Weekend at Bernie's?"
Hey.
He was in the box with a ski mask, sunglasses.
I will say, like, when the Bengals had, like, I think they had driven down and they were pretty close to scoring one of the touchdowns early on in the first quarter. There was like a timeout or something happened, but like the announcers made sure to be like, they just showed Damar Hamlin up on the the big screen. He threw up the heart hands, and then they like zoomed in. They like the crowd went crazy, and like the team like So I could see where some people might think that it was being
Everything
used
everything to gain, nothing to lose by maybe throwing a guy $25,000 and handing him an NDA and dressing him up in a ski mask, sunglasses, hood up for the whole game.
I think it was DeMar.
It was DeMar.
Eight to 10 security guards the whole time. Can't interview him. God forbid he even comes to a microphone and says "Go Bills" or "I wish I was playing in this game" or "I thank God every day that I'm still alive." None of these things could happen, but we got the heart emoji in a ski mask in the box, sunglasses on, hood up. Come on, man.
He didn't have a ski mask on in the box.
Yes, he did.
He had a little.
Okay. Let's head back to the game.
In any case, 27-10 was the final score. Joe Burrow, 23 of 36, 242. I was hoping he'd hit 250 or more. That would have helped. 2 touchdowns, only sacked once behind this new offensive line of his. Jackson Carman, the highest graded offensive lineman from this game. Although Ted Karras did get injured. His knee was hurting a little bit.
Tony Romo was sad the whole game. He was trying to force himself to sound like impartial as everything was crumbling around him.
Tony Romo was so horrible.
He was talking about how good a pocket passer was of how good of a pocket passer Josh Allen was as Josh Allen throws the pick to Cam Taylor-Britt.
Before that though, when it was like right at the start, it might have been the start of the second half, maybe there was a play where the Bills were. It might have even been later in the game, and Josh Allen throws a pass, and it was just your kind of your run of the mill whatever. And he was like, he didn't become Superman overnight. And it was like, what are you talking about? They're still. I think they were still down maybe 2 scores or 10. It was
at that point. I don't think Tony Romo knew what he was talking about.
Josh Allen rushes into the end zone and decides he's going to talk shit while they're down bad.
Well, I think that made it 14-7, right? Or something like that.
It made it closer, yeah.
I think that was 4.
Correct. Every touchdown makes it closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ed, did you happen to write down our predictions for scores last week?
No, I did not. I forgot to.
Because mine was 28-14. That was pretty close.
I don't recall what mine was.
Yours was 31-28.
I can look it up.
I think, which in your defense, was a more popular take that it was going to be a 3-point game.
Yeah.
My take was outlandish, and I should have placed bets using
your take.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a buddy that sent me a text. My one buddy I've talked about on here before that we always. And he lives in LA, and so he's like, what's it gonna be? And I was like, I said I'm pretty confident, I said it was gonna be 28-14. I'm gonna stick with it. He's like, whoa, that's way confident. He's like, I think the Bengals are gonna win, but I think it's gonna be a lot closer than that. And I was like, I just have this feeling, and they came out and just absolutely the thing is Zach Taylor
they marched
in the Bengals. Zach Taylor and the Bengals, they can't lose the opening toss. It's impossible. Because if they win the toss, they take the ball. If they lose the toss, the other team
defers, and they take the ball,
and the Bengals get the ball, and you're already. And maybe the Chiefs will change if they win and they maybe they'll take the ball, but the Bengals want the ball. They don't care. They don't care about your stats and your goofy this, that, or the other. They want the ball first. They're going to then march it down the field.
Okay, so I have the exact play-by-play. 1st and 10 from the 21. Joe Burrow pass to Jamar Chase for 6 yards to the 27. 2nd and 4. Joe Mixon rushes for 5 yards. So they're at the 32. 1st and 10. Joe Burrow pass deep to Tyler Boyd, 23 yards. 1st and 10 at the 45. Joe Mixon, 10-yard run. 1st and 10 from the Buffalo 35. Joe Burrow pass right to Hayden Hurst, 7 yards. 2nd and 3, Jamar Chase, 28 yards, touchdown. 6 plays, 79 yards. That's how you do it.
Not a single third down snap. Not a single third down snap.
On the first drive.
Beautiful. You can't script it better than that.
Huh.
I was waiting for the
Bengals have always have like great scripted plays, like a scripted series at the beginning.
What are you trying to say, Jeff? You trying to say the NFL scripted?
That's not at all what I said. They had 30 first downs in that game. That's a franchise record.
For a playoff game or for a game?
I believe it was for a playoff game, but still 30 first downs is a ton of first downs.
It is, yes.
In a game. They were what, 6 for 10 on third down.
14 passing first downs, 13 rushing first downs, 3 first downs from penalties. They were also 6 of 10 on third down and held Buffalo to 4 of 12 on third down and 2 of 3 on fourth down.
Again, think about that, guys. 30 first downs.
Yeah.
Only 10 third down snaps.
Yeah.
They weren't fucking around.
No, they weren't.
It was so, and you know what?
Clinical.
Go back, if I went back and watched obviously like highlights, and I watched like the little like the condensed version of things, and
you heard how
Joe Burrow had, so like his pocket, like on all the passing downs, like I mean, he was sacked one time, I think, and hit maybe one time.
It looked like he had rolled his ankle at that point. I got real nervous.
That was a dangerous one.
Yeah.
We were in like the danger zone on that hit.
For sure.
It just seemed like this was the same offensive line that they've been playing with all year, like giving him time. I thought he moved up in the pocket better, and maybe that's just like, maybe it's recency bias from watching the game. Like, I just thought he moved forward in the pocket better than he has all year.
He looked comfortable. He didn't look scared.
I feel like a lot of times he moves laterally, like side to side a little bit in the pocket, and that's when then he makes these like crazy plays where he's like rolling out and running to the side, throwing the ball, whatever. But like, I felt like he moved up in the pocket and delivered some really nice passes, doing so. I mean, including the very first touchdown pass to Jamar Chase. I mean, he moved up in the pocket and threw, like 3-4 steps forward in the pocket, and then threw a nice little pass to Chase. But
I'll be surprised if he looks that good as far as being comfortable in the pocket against Kansas City. I think their defensive line rushes the quarterback much better, especially Chris Jones.
See, I'm not even so much worried there.
No. One stat that I did want to point out: the Bengals as a team, only 2 penalties, 9 yards. That's incredible, especially for an offensive line.
Oh, here we go. Everybody's going to say that they didn't throw any penalties against.
I'm just saying. Whatever, that's fine. I mean, they're saying everything.
I mean, that's a thing. That's a thing that's out there. Not any of the overturned things that were.
You mean where
the Bills' way?
Jamar Chase, who may or may not. Ed, you're muted. No one can hear you. But Jamar Chase, who may or may not have had a touchdown. Joe Mixon, it was ruled not a touchdown, and then ends up being a touchdown upon further review.
I thought the ground could not cause a fumble.
It can't, but you have to. It was ruled that he didn't have full possession.
He had full possession.
It technically, by rule, was not a catch.
But here's the question.
It's a bad rule.
If he's in the middle of the field, it's a catch because it never touched the ground, and he would have regained possession laying on the ground. But he was out of bounds whenever they determined he regained possession. I thought he had caught the ball, had 3 feet in before he started losing possession of the ball
and a knee down
and reset it. Obviously, we're not NFL officials, and our opinion doesn't matter, and theirs does. And they said that it wasn't any good, and so then McPherson came out and had to kick a field goal.
I will say that if I was on the other side where Buffalo had made that catch, I probably would have been irate and talking in this very space about how that wasn't a catch.
Yep.
By rule.
By rule,
By
it is
rule.
not a catch.
I
And-
understand.
and
Stupid rule, but
the rule should be if the ball never touches the ground, it's a catch.
The rules should also be the same whether you're catching it falling out of bounds, frontwards, backwards,
Yep.
on the
had
sideline, at
yep.
the end of in the end zone, whatever the case may be. It shouldn't matter which direction your feet are.
I mean, I agree. I agree with what Chad's saying. Is like if you gather the ball in the end zone and it just doesn't touch the ground, like touchdown, catch. It's a catch. Because here's my thing, and I know like we're going like all over the place, but like my thing is, if I'm running the ball, I have the ball, I'm running the ball, I dive for the end zone, and the tip of the ball barely gets to the line, that's a touchdown. And if Ed smacks the ball out of my hand before I land on the ground,
Which I probably would because I'm a hell of a defensive player.
something like that,
Yeah.
it's not a fumble, it's a touchdown. But if I catch the ball in the air and land in the end zone and Ed knocks the ball out of my hand, it's an incomplete pass. Why?
I agree.
That
I think
the very moment that I catch the ball, even with my feet not down, should you? That's touchdown. Sorry.
Aaron, I just lost that $10 bet.
Just like Aaron's thoughts on shovel passes should be fumbles, regardless.
be fumbles.
Oh no,
Are not
UCF
fumbles.
super fan. That's awful. A Diggs touchdown away from turning $1 into 4,800. And he didn't even have the
What about
decency
the
to
dude who
hang
turned
around after the
$5
game and
into
say sorry.
73,000?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was on all the calling the first touchdown score in every game.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
well done on that
video
guy.
of him
but
seeing
yeah,
him.
no.
Go ahead. I'm off on a tangent.
I was just going to say, I feel like when a quarterback has a defensive player wrapped around their torso, getting ready to drive them into the ground, you shouldn't be able to do one of these volleyball sets, throwing the ball ahead of you at a running back who's not looking at the ball. Like that should not count as a forward lateral pass. This
I
is why
agree.
shovel passes should always be fumbles. It's garbage. Pure garbage.
But then Mahomes wouldn't be the number one quarterback in the league.
Cool. Good with it. He probably wouldn't try shovel passes nearly as often as he does.
My
if
thing
they
is
were fumbles.
on the fumble though, or like what I thought was a fumble, which was, if I'm correct, was actually ruled a fumble on the field and then overturned
Yes,
into an incomplete pass.
correct.
It was Hilton, I believe, who hit him in the arm, and it's back
Correct,
here,
because
right?
For
So,
for
like,
like 3 or
the
4
ball-
plays, Hilton was a man unleashed. My
Yeah.
God.
Like you get hit back here, your
They
arm's not
have
going
to
forward.
change this.
This isn't going forward, right? Like all and Sterators, like all you need is one frame of the ball of the arm coming forward with the ball in control. I'm like,
Skeletor.
Guess what? When you're doing this and you get hit, you're still going to end up.
pushing
Doing
the ball
that.
forward, like doing this, like
This is human nature, right? You get hit all the way back here, your hand is still
and it's
doing
supposed
this.
and it's supposed to be, the ball is supposed to be under control coming forward. And it
Isn't
Yeah.
wasn't. He got
that all
hit
the
back
tuck
here.
rule though?
He got hit back here. Well, the tuck rule is that if the ball is coming forward under control, that you can't, like, if my arm gets to here, I can't hit in the arm here, and then when the ball gets
the
jarred
ball
loose,
was
that's
not
tuck rule.
moving forward when he
It
got
got,
hit.
it got knocked loose back here.
That
and
should be the rule.
he just pushed it forward.
Well, like I just showed,
Yeah.
if you're back here,
It was a shovel pass.
your hand does this.
It was
No matter what.
it was equivalent to a shovel pass.
It was a shovel pass.
It's terrible. I mean, I can't believe we're arguing about this, and like the Bengals absolutely dominated every phase of that game.
Well, they didn't dominate enough.
Because
here's dominated more.
You're right.
Here's the thing, Jeff. We're in the year 2023. We have digital components, chips and balls. We didn't even know about
chips and balls,
and we still don't know what a catch is, because it depends on where you are, what the time is in the game, which direction,
what odds are in Vegas,
which direction you're facing, and
now
we also don't know what a pass is. We don't know what a pass is anymore.
I think the other thing that irritates me a lot on that stuff is like they always make this big thing, like it's got to be indisputable video evidence. Like if it's called a catch on the field, there's got to be indisputable. If there's and it just seems like as much as the NFL enjoys them, that they go over there and they flip a coin. And they're like not even like that's what the ref is watching. He's watching like a virtual coin flip, and then he's like, "Oh, all right, heads we're gonna overturn, tails and we're gonna keep it the way it is." Oh, it's an overturn, and he comes back out. Exactly, it's that right there. That's what they're doing. They're playing this silly game. They don't even watch the replay.
Do you remember in flag football when we would used to use the app? That referee never had a coin on him.
No.
And so we just busted out that app. We just do a coin toss.
It's silly to me that they that everything is it's such an arbitrary way to do things, especially with what's at stake it's across everything. There's just no hard and fast you can ask 10 different referees what they see and they're going to tell you something different.
Yeah.
At least
depending on who writes their checks.
I'm just saying,
if it's a guy in the booth for Fox or CBS, they're going to tell you one thing always, and it's going to be what happened out there is always right.
Well, yeah, I mean they're going to shit on.
They're not impartial. They're not impartial. They're going to play by the rules that happened on the field.
It has to be blatantly obvious that it was missed for them to be like, oh, yeah, they missed that one. To the point that there's no, on the mix-in touchdown that was called not a touchdown, they had to say in the booth.
His whole body was over the line.
His whole body was over the line.
Right.
The only way they are ever going to say the refs got it wrong is if the video evidence is
so compelling that it's
oh my god, okay, yeah, they missed that one. That's the only way they are ever erroring on, unless it's the Cowboys. Can I tell you how annoyed I was this morning?
Yeah.
How annoyed were you, Chad?
8 a.m. up with the kids. She wasn't feeling well. She didn't want to go to school. We're kind of arguing back and forth. I finally let her stay home because with everything going on, I'm now a soft parent. The first 20 minutes of First Take today was on what, Jeff? Guess.
The Cincinnati Bengals.
Nope. Bad guess.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Ding, 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 ding.
America's
Dallas
team.
Fucking Cowboys who haven't won anything
since 92.
Since I was 94. In high school.
94.
I was in high school.
Whoever runs their Twitter is a savage.
Oh, I couldn't believe that they did.
I think that's somebody that's got multiple Twitters, their personal Twitters and the Dallas Twitters.
It's
and
still up.
And they click.
It's still up.
Well, they can't take it down now.
I mean,
you can. I mean, you're gonna.
They
Jerry Jones does what Jerry Jones wants to do. What do you mean?
Jerry Jones had to go down and talk to his kicker at pregame,
set him right.
Who was still missing kicks in the pregame. That guy's got the yips.
Above, I get it if that happens on Monday, right? The Cowboys-Niners game was the last game on Sunday. It's Cowboys-Niners. I get it. And that
but it's not our Cowboys-Niners. It's
but it's still I get it.
Dak and Brock Purdy.
Right, but I'm saying, but I get if that's your lead on Monday is Dak couldn't fucking beat Brock Purdy. I get it.
Nobody can beat Brock Purdy.
I don't want to play Brock Purdy.
I
I
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
play
play
Brock.
San Francisco at all.
Their defensive line scares me.
Their defensive line scares me. Everything about their offense is terrifying.
Everything about their defense is terrifying.
I know.
I'd
So,
much rather play the Eagles.
Yes.
but like we're talking about a Final Four that is elite Sunday.
Mhm.
Eagles
Come on,
Niners
Foxes.
is elite. Elite
Bengals Chiefs.
is elite.
The only thing that puts a damper on Bengals Chiefs is like
Is
Patrick
Patrick.
Mahomes if he ends
Sure.
up not being able to play at all.
But that's an
Like-
insanely compelling storyline to follow all week.
But
And on Tuesday, ESPN, their number one show at 8 a.m., they lead with 20 minutes of the Dallas Cowboys. Get the fuck out of here.
money.
Of course. But give me
I will say,
nobody
as far
there
as the
can't
Chiefs,
be that many people that care about the Dallas Cowboys.
well, there's a lot of people that care about the Dallas Cowboys.
America.
A lot.
Marcus team. Hell yeah.
Marcus team. But as far as the Chiefs go, I mean, if Mahomes can't go, like Chad Henne did not look bad in that drive
He
that
can do
he
enough
took.
to win them a game.
Like,
So
I mean, the thing, like, people just have to realize, like, when you get to this point, like, your championship weekend, like you're not playing like the Browns, like, you're not playing like a dumpster fire of a team, like it's
But this is especially like
elite.
These are the four best teams in the NFL.
I mean, it is,
And might be the four best teams in the NFL for another couple years. Like, yes, injuries and whatever.
right.
After today on Twitter, Buffalo would like a word.
Buffalo. Look, Buffalo
They don't get a
doesn't-
word.
They
They,
get zero
they
words.
sure as shit think they do.
Hey,
we cheated.
You gotta have lean years to have a good team.
The Bengals cheated wearing all white uniforms.
Yo,
Can we
So-
talk honestly about Buffalo?
This is a
I
cir-
wouldn't-
This is
I
a
wouldn't like
circle of
to.
trust. We talk about it all the time.
This is a trust tree. Nobody else can hear you, Chad. Go ahead.
Are we in a trust tree?
Buffalo started their rebuild 2 years earlier than the Bengals. And they did not get over the hump. And now they got past. They were
They also-
going to get dominated on Monday night in Cincinnati. They got dominated on Sunday in Buffalo. And guess what, Aaron? You want to spin and do this in your chair? Guess what? Next year, they get passed by Jacksonville. And they might get passed by San Diego.
I can't wait to do our re-ranking of the quarterbacks in the offseason.
Well, now you get to rank Joe Burrow at minimum number 2. He's number number 2 or number 1.
He's top 2, and it's not 2. But
Look, Mahomes is Mahomes, and the things he does are incredible. But here's this. Here's a little nugget for that debate when we have it in the offseason. Patrick Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers.
Joe Burrow is Tom Brady.
Tom Brady Jr.
I still think he's Joe Montana.
Okay.
But the Tom Brady thing works for the same reasons.
Yeah.
And in
He's
that
mobile. He's more mobile than Tom ever was.
In that light, if you want to go the Montana comparison, Mahomes is Elway. And Joe is Montana.
Well, I guess if you go Brady, then you would say like then Mahomes is like Peyton.
I'd go.
Like,
I'd go. Mahomes is more Favre or Steve Young
Or Aaron Rodgers. Like the most
Same.
Rodgers was
Or
considered
Rodgers, yeah.
the most physically gifted.
Yeah.
The same as Montana or Elway. Elway at the time was considered the most physically gifted quarterback of all time.
I just hated to look at him in his horse teeth, but
and Josh Allen is Dan Marino. Let's go.
I actually think That's not wrong. I've had Herbert as
Or Jim
Marino.
Kelly.
I've had Herbert as Marino.
Okay.
Like all the arm talent in the world, but never got over the hump. Like the Marino thing, my favorite thing about Marino is he got to the AF, he made the Super Bowl in his rookie year and never.
My favorite thing about Marino was he was in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Well, yeah, of course.
Are we allowed to show?
Football-wise,
Are we allowed to show video without sound?
No,
No.
still no.
This
It'll get us
video,
scrubbed.
this video of
No.
Ted Karras just leaning back and forth in the snow. Does that not get you hyped?
That's a dude.
The look in his eye, he was going to murder somebody.
His knee was sprained, and he played through it.
Yeah,
He
but look,
put the brace on, and
I think the comparison for Burrow is Brady Montana. I think the comparison for Mahomes is Rodgers Elway-esque.
I'm getting
Most
Karras
physically
jersey.
Gifted. Right now, you're going it right now.
You're doing
Start
what?
with the hat. You
He's
can
buying
start
a
with the
Karras
Cincy
jersey.
stripes. The Cincy stripes hat that he
He's on DH gate.
I'm already in.
Don't let him lie to you.
He's not spending $100. He's spending $20.
But look. I think the Josh Allen era has already, like, I think that window is close to closing.
Come and gone. I mean,
you
saw what happened. Yep. Go ahead.
I cannot, and like, obviously it could happen, but I just don't see. I just like, as frustrated as they might get, because like the beginning of this season was a very frustrating time for a team that just came off the Super Bowl. And I do, like, even when Burrow was throwing 4 picks, I don't recall there ever being, and yeah, it's the beginning of the season, so it's a little different. Like the season's not ending if you lose this game. Obviously it didn't, because now they're in the AFC Championship, but like, I just don't see anybody getting in front of Joe Burrow in that manner and like acting like that. Where, I mean, who knows what he's saying to him? We can all kind of guess what he's saying to him, but
Throw me the fucking ball.
Like the disrespect.
Well, but Joe confuses
like
that. He's like, I'm gonna throw you. Like,
and in Josh Allen's defense,
Like
the
he didn't.
the pass he had to Gabe Davis was right in the breadbasket.
yeah.
That should have been a touchdown.
We're not allowed to talk
At
about
least
Eli
a
Apple.
very long first down. At the very least, a very long first down.
Eli Apple made a great play.
He did.
Amen. Got his hand in there.
Also, you don't
None.
as a Bearcats fan, none of us are upset seeing a UCF fan struggle on the field, especially a UCF fan that gave us fits.
Oh, John White brings up a good point. There was a clip that was shared early on, and
It's like in a snow globe.
when I saw it,
It's
It was
beautiful.
amazing.
The camera angle was
It was
I mean,
amazing.
the
Chef's
only
kiss.
thing that would have made that clip, like, I mean, because it's elite as elite gets, but the only thing that makes it, that would have made it like just that much like better, is if you had seen the catch be made.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like-
If we could have seen the whole rest of the clip, that
And
would
I
have
think
maybe-
Joe was
and
in
maybe-
front of the I think Joe blocked the
Yeah.
the camera angle when the ball
I mean,
was
but
caught or
still,
not.
I mean, it's just insane. Like the turn, the throw, like, yes, it's warm ups, whatever, but it's just this like, it's.
But you
that
know that's not the
air-
first
it's
time
that
he's done
air-
that.
No, but it's that air of like,
Aaron.
yeah, we're here. We're not like, there's no like, we're not tense about this game. We're not stressing anything. I'm out here throwing a 360, like 40-yard out route because I can. I don't care. Like,
On your logo.
who cares? It's the divisional round against the Buffalo Bills at Highmark, like in Buffalo, like on the road.
And he's out here like acting like the Friday night high school football
And he-
game.
Yeah, and he's back in Athens, like just chucking the ball down the field, doing a 360 spin, like, oh.
He's
It's
out
the
there.
end.
Yeah.
It's the antitheses of what I talked about with UC basketball, right? They don't have the engine. Cincinnati, the Bengals not only have the engine, they got fucking Hemi, right? Like
We haven't
they got a 12-cylinder.
They got all.
We
they
haven't
got
even
the
talked
F1
about-
car.
We haven't even talked about Joe Mixon, who had 20 carries for 100 yards.
105 yards.
105.
with a touchdown
But here's the thing, and like you go back to Joe
in the
Mixon.
snow, by the way.
Go back to
In
Joe
the
Mixon.
snow.
He had running lanes getting blown wide open for the
Man.
for what seems like the first time all year.
Yeah.
And Jackson
With three
Carman
backup
is
Jackson
offensive linemen.
Carman.
Jackson Carmen's chucking dudes 5 rows up into the stands. Like it's insanity.
Jackson
And
Carman has
I've
been
learned way
amazing.
more about offensive line, like the way an offensive lineman should be than
This
I
in the
ever
last
thought
week,
I would. Just by scrolling through like there's like
Did you
I
see
think his
AQ
name-
Shipley breaking
I think
it down on?
Parker Blake, I think is
No.
one of the guys that I was looking at. He
AQ
like went
Shipley on
play-by-play.
McAfee today.
Like, so
He had
like
a great one on the Jackson Carman block.
I mean it's insanity.
And it started with Mixon coming in and destroying a dude at the point of attack on that play. And then Carman getting outside
No,
and just
You're talking
sending
about
like
No,
that.
it was
He
Chase.
sent the
Chase.
guy into Chase. Yeah, Chase. Yeah. Chase
quick,
came in
just-
and
Dude,
destroyed. Dude.
real quick,
that
I
was
just
the
want to
third in inches.
real quick. I just want to welcome GVS to the chat. It's a name I've never seen before.
Haven't seen that name
on,
before.
on
Yeah.
any
Welcome.
of the Bearcat channels. So welcome, GVS.
We are all fans of DJ Reader here.
Hell
Big
yeah.
fans. Big fans of Hayden Hurst. Big Hayden Hurst guys. But
We
also
are-
big fans
we are
of
big Hayden Hurst guys. And like
So we did name the title of this show, Big Hayden Hurst guys. I want to go back to when we lost the tight end to the New York Jets, and everyone was devastated.
also I just real quick, since you mentioned the
Was
New
it-
York Jets, I want to
wasn't-
say
wasn't
that the
devastated?
Jets I just want to say the Jets are not allowed to wear green uniforms anymore because it could blend in with the grass. Thank you.
fair. That was funny, Ed. Well done.
Also, the
Yourself-
Eagles
yourself
cannot
right.
wear those this weekend.
They're
And
not the same color green as the grass anymore. They've gone
Well,
that.
Ooh, John White brings up a good question. If Cap is healthy enough, does he play over Sharping?
No.
'Cause I think is that not where Chris Jones lines up?
All right. So what I was talking about.
he doesn't want anything to do with that, Jeff.
That's a good question.
We will get there, but we titled the name of this show "We're Big Hayden Hurst Guys." So
We are big Hayden Hurst guys. We bring him up every week that he plays.
going back to the offseason, and we lose our starting tight end to the New York Jets,
And to his girlfriend.
and everyone's upset. He had a girlfriend. It wasn't Kay Adams.
Yeah, we don't perpetuate that kind of
That
stuff
was-
here, Ed.
That was a whole thing. And everyone was upset because he was the heartbeat of last year's team that made a Super Bowl run. And we sign a guy, Hayden Hurst, who was drafted first round, I believe, by the Baltimore Ravens. And Mark
ahead
Andrews
ahead of Mark Andrews,
Ahead of Mark Andrews.
Lamar Jackson.
in the same draft, and loses his job to Mark Andrews, deservedly so, I suppose. I think if you line Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews up, I'm still taking Mark Andrews probably 90 times out of 100.
Not me.
That said, he's their wide receiver one, but he's a tight end. He almost hawked Sam Hubbard. Come on, man.
Okay, like who's the what like position like skill player is it gonna be?
I
able
didn't-
to hawk?
I didn't-
None of
I
them
didn't see.
could.
I didn't.
To
I
have
didn't see
that.
it. I didn't see a running back or a wide receiver
I didn't
back
see
there.
no Tyler. I didn't see no Tyler Huntley trying to run him down.
I mean,
Yes,
anyway,
I guess that could have ended up in an injury, and then I don't even know if they have another quarterback. They'd have been doing direct snaps to J.K. Dobbins for the rest of the game.
so people are freaking out, and in comes Hayden Hurst, who also had gone to Atlanta and struggled behind another tight end there that went in the first round.
He just wasn't used properly.
He never, and
And
he
he
is
had any stop in his career until he got here to the Cincinnati
until he got
Bengals.
here, and he has played from his very first game, and I believe it took until right around week 4, week 6, where he just sung like a bird the praises of Cincinnati.
Well, he
And
said it
how-
again.
Will you let me get there?
Well, you're getting really long-winded about
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
like,
You're
build-up.
you're building this up like it's a Star Wars intro. Go ahead.
You named it the title of the show. I'm trying to give it some respect. Christ.
Go
In
ahead,
any
Aaron.
case,
Go ahead, Aaron.
he comes here, sings the praises. I love being in Cincinnati. They know how to use me. Fast forward to the playoffs after an injury, after some time away from the team. Sucked. Now he's back. And he's doing things. He had 59 yards and a touchdown in the game against Buffalo. He had a touchdown in the first round as well, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
So
I'm going to check right now.
I've seen people already mocking tight ends to the Bengals in the first round because it is a tight end heavy class.
Ooh.
That said, I don't know that I want a tight end that is going to be brought in to surpass him as number one on the roster.
I
like our tight ends.
do too.
Hayden Hurst.
Well,
is-
keep
I
in
like
mind
the tight
we have
ends
a
too, Jeff.
Thanks, Chad.
keep in mind we have a tight end who's also we have a tight end who's also on IR currently. I don't know if you remember Drew Sample.
Oh, forgot about that guy.
Just
I mean,
saying.
he's no Mitchell Wilcox, though.
I don't disagree. Actually,
He's no Cam Sample either. I might play him at tight end.
well, there is that. But in any case,
Interesting.
yeah, we have been not shy about being big Hayden
no.
Hurst guys from the jump, and it has paid off in dividends.
I just like it. I like it.
Hell of a
like,
season.
His fire, like his ability to make plays on the field, like plus the fire that he like
Screaming
That's a
just
scary
after
dude.
any
Just-
catch.
just insanity
He's-
after any catch.
He was a Viking in another life, right? Like he was totally a
might
Viking.
He might still
Real
be a
Viking type guy.
Yeah, he's
Like,
a
just-
real Viking type guy.
He's a real Viking type guy.
Just cutting someone's head off and screaming about it as their blood pours everywhere. Like,
Like,
just he's
I
crazy.
mean, he was what five catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown.
But it's even more than just that. Like we talk about wanting to bring in a tight end who can block. He's doing all of that. Like he just throw him out there and he will give you everything he has, his entire body,
Yeah,
every
but-
play.
And you know what? You know what though? Like that kind of speaks to like the character of this team, of like what this
Yes.
team is. Like these dudes are getting put out there. Like, have you ever? So like, we'll go to the running back position. All right, Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine. Like Samaje's had a good season too.
Mhm.
Right, he's filled in when
Hell of a
necessary
season.
when Joe Mixon's been hurt.
I'd say great.
And they kind of in and out, whatever the situation is. This guy's in, this guy, and like and maybe some stuff's going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. But publicly, like literally, you don't see and
Jeff.
winning does take care of a lot of issues.
Jeff,
But
they were college teammates who did this.
I'm aware. I'm just
This
saying,
isn't
like,
the first time.
like you've got that going on. Like you've got wide receivers who could be wide receiver ones in different places. Like, you know, people the way that this team is and the way that they just go out there and do whatever is asked of them. They obviously have done it well now for 2 years. And we're back in the back looking at a pretty good shot to go back to the Super Bowl.
Hayden Hurst only
And-
has 2 touchdowns this year. It
Regular
feels like
season.
a lot more. Yeah, regular season.
Mhm.
Well, they don't.
I have an important question to ask before Sunday.
This is counting the.
Is this already a successful season?
Yes.
Coming off the Super Bowl,
Look at the
where
Rams.
I just say, look at the Rams.
It is known that teams that lose the Super Bowl have a Super Bowl hangover. They have now orchestrated the longest winning streak in franchise history. They have established themselves as one of the top 2 teams in the AFC. Minimum. We'll see where this goes from here. They made it back to the AFC Championship. Joe Burrow has established himself at minimum as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Higher. And he's not 5 or 4, probably, or 3, whatever the case may be. However you want to, play it out. Is this, regardless of what happens in Kansas City and the reaction we have here next week, win or lose, is this a successful season for this franchise?
I say yes.
It's so much different than the 90s.
Here's the thing.
We're talking about the 2020s, Aaron, because this could be a decade of Bengals.
As long as Joe Burrow's career.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know, but did you kill?
If they lose on a fucking field goal at the end of the game, if Kansas City comes out hot and beats them by 20, is this a successful season, regardless of any outcome that happens
I'm not sure
on Sunday?
I'm not sure it can be because we've already beat Kansas City the last 3 times we played them. If they come out
by
and beat
3
us by
each time,
I know, but if they come out and beat us by 20,
then it wasn't your day.
For me, this is absolutely a successful season.
Yes.
Let's rewind back to August and September.
When all the talking heads
scares me.
We're 0-2. Everybody's saying how awful this is. Like, we all felt in our stomach, like, man, is this really going to happen this year? Where it is that like Super Bowl hangover,
where they're
like,
7-10,
they're going to win. And I said 11-6 is what their regular season record was going to be. That's pretty close. I think Aaron gave them 12 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were all in that range of predictions for what was going to happen. It seemed like a very tall task at the time when things didn't look like they were going the right way.
And Jeff, the other thing, what did everybody say? You can't start like this because the back half
is brutal.
It's brutal.
They coming out of the bye,
and they swept
there are 3, 4, 5 losses in the back half. You can't start slow because they're going to get killed in the back half of this schedule. They did not lose.
I mean, they've been they did everything they needed to do. And when you start looking at the way, like, because like obviously Twitter is the land of intelligent takes and crazy stuff, and like, so you start hearing people like saying just insane things like, oh, it's like somebody like put like look at this, it could be like the Marvin days. I'm like, what? They were going to the playoffs with Marvin Lewis. Like, they weren't winning there, but they were getting to the playoffs. Like,
so you're gonna
Joe's won more road playoff games than the Bengals had ever won.
Joe Burrow has won more the same amount of playoff games as the franchise had won before he got here. 5.
Fair. So you might hate this take though, but like, I don't want us to get, and maybe I'm jumping the gun too early, but I don't want us to get satisfied with making it to the 3rd round of the playoffs, the 4th round.
Okay, but here's the thing: is like the
NFL, if you're playing every year in the conference championship, you roll the dice.
You can be successful without being in the Super Bowl.
When you get to this, like when you get here, okay, everybody is not going to be Tom Brady with the Patriots. Like, it's just not going to happen.
I'm not saying we're going to win 17 Super Bowls, but like, I don't. If you set the bar now in season 2, if you set the bar now,
championship, I set the bar there.
I'm good with conference championship.
Because you're playing
the top
for a
4
berth in the Super Bowl.
It's almost a coin flip who's going to win that game.
Yeah.
Every year.
You're playing for a conference championship and a spot in the Super Bowl every year.
The Super Bowl is probably the hardest thing to win out of all of everything. Just due to the parity. Just due to the parity of the NFL.
And it's baseball's a series, basketball is a series, hockey is a series.
Football, you get one shot. That's it.
Do not miss your chance to blow. Opportunity only comes once in a lifetime.
Exactly.
Spaghetti, 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 spaghetti.
Now, like, I mean, you got to, and you with football, like, yeah, I mean, you're fighting your way through the playoffs, one and done, and it. So if you can,
I guess I just don't want to set the
not
bar.
I guess.
No, I mean,
setting the bar.
That's
low,
not setting the bar
It's
low.
the
That's setting the bar
championship.
insanely high.
It feels
If
like
the
if you're
bar
saying
is-
every
if the-
year. If I told you right now, Ed,
Preach, Jeff.
that every year you were going to go to the conference championship. Now, some years you might go to the Super Bowl, some years you might go to the Super Bowl and win, but you're going to get to the conference championship every year for 10 years straight, or you're going to win the Super Bowl next year, and then after that, you're not going back to the playoffs for another 10 years. Which one are you taking, Ed?
Spaghetti,
Right.
spaghetti,
You're going
spaghetti,
to the
spaghetti.
I'd like to
You're
take
going
the Super Bowl.
I just said that you're going to go to the conference championship. You just don't know if you're going to go to the Super Bowl and win. So you could
But
go
I
to
don't
the
want to
conference
say
championship.
I don't want to say that
go
every
to the
year just
Super
going to the
Bowl.
conference championship is going to be a successful year. I don't want to
So,
say that because I
let me
want to win a Super Bowl.
Let me counter this with, we all want to win a Super Bowl, but let me counter this with, do you think that the Bills losing 4 straight Super Bowls, you don't think that was successful?
Couldn't win the big dance.
So they never got over the hump, but that's successful as fuck.
So say Bob Huggins didn't lose in the first round of the tournament every year and lost in the championship game of the tournament every year. Did Bob Huggins have a successful career here in
Yes.
Cincinnati?
Absolutely. That's the NCAA tournament might be the only thing more difficult than the Super Bowl to win.
I still think people would call him
Ed,
out
are
and
you
say
even
he
listening
can't get
to
past.
yourself right now?
We all want to win. We're all on the same page there. We all want
I
to
just
win.
want to win a damn Super Bowl, and I
Correct.
don't want to say that just because we got the championship, it was or the conference championship, it was successful. I just want a damn Super Bowl.
You're essentially saying, I don't want to win just a Super Bowl. I want to win all the Super Bowls.
I
or
want to win
it's
all the
not-
Super Bowls. That's
or
what I'm
it's-
saying.
Or it's not successful.
I'm not saying that, but I want to win
That's what
two Super Bowls.
What you're saying.
two Super Bowls.
This is the most insane thing I have ever dealt with in my entire life.
I want to say this. I would go back and tell my younger self in the 90s as I'm watching all of this
It gets
That we're-
better.
That Victoria's Secret.
that we were going to have this type of a run, and I would gladly do it all over again. And I did that not knowing. I did that on blind faith, watching David Klingler, watching Jeff Blake, watching
Yo, don't. There will
Neil
be no shaking Blake slander here.
Please do
watching.
not- yeah,
I'm
please
just
not
I'm
slander Blake.
just naming quarterbacks. Watching Neil
I
O'Donnell.
still have a goal
watching-
of getting him
You've
on the show.
You've already done this.
I
Aaron.
know. I'm just saying.
Somebody
but
needs to find the clip of Aaron rattling off all 7,000 Bengals quarterbacks last
I
year.
think it was
just saying.
last year and this week.
Achilles Smith. Like we went through and watched.
We went through a
all of
lot.
this, and we did this in the 90s. And
John
now-
They go
Kitna.
through as many as the
Can't believe you
Browns.
didn't say John
But-
Kitna.
But even going
You didn't say
back
Kitna.
even going back to where I think this all started in the Carson Palmer era, changing the tone. I think that changed the tone of this franchise.
It did.
Marvin Lewis started the change of the tone in this franchise, and that started with the Carson Palmer era. And now here we are, and Joe Burrow is going to be the guy that gets us over the hump.
Yeah, of course. Joe Burrow is. I mean, yeah, but
If he gets us one,
I'll agree with you guys.
I will be very, very happy. If he
Oh,
gets
I just
us
want one.
two, if he gets us two, I'm going to have to call a doctor for having an erection for longer than 4 hours.
Jeez, I think it's the first time we said erection on the show. Way to go. Only took 5 years.
You're welcome.
Thank God it's after 10:30.
Put the kids to bed.
All right, boys.
I should go back and
What?
rename the show.
What are our predictions for Sunday, Ed?
I think he will play. Mahomes will play, but I think he's gonna be hurting. I don't think he's gonna be 100%.
So on that, this
Your
is
hat.
Bengals 28.
It's almost a Bishop mode.
Bengals 28. Kansas City 7.
I want to present this first though, Ed.
Okay, well,
It's been one of the largest
I know.
line movements in the history
Craziness.
of playoff football.
For the Chiefs to start out as favored and for the Bengals to now be favored by
No, it's a 4-point swing. The Chiefs opened as a 1.5 favorite.
Yeah.
Some books had them open as a 2.5 point favorite, and almost
And-
immediately.
Does that
Changed.
tell you that the Mahomes ankle stuff is a smokescreen? That he's either going to be way more limited than we thought, or he's not going to play.
I think he's going to be limited, way more limited than we thought. You cannot not play. Like Joe Burrow would not
You
play in this
absolutely
game.
can not play.
Not play, right? Like a
when they
high
took-
ankle sprain
When they
is
took the tape off his ankle, if it blew up to the size of his
A softball?
thigh, like
Did he practice today?
He's not
he's not
practicing
going to
all week.
practice this week.
All
there-
week.
there's
he's
no
not.
way he practices.
And he's never played a game after not practicing all week.
Did you hear Tony Romo talking about it? Where he
I
said,
heard Tony Romo
when
saying
he said
it's going to be.
when he's had one. That's why, like I always say, like those are. I mean, think about this.
They're 6-week injuries.
Pollard got hit the same exact way, and his leg broke in the Cowboys game.
Is there a prop bet that he doesn't make it through the whole game? Because
Could be
I
one.
want that. I want that bet.
Look,
And
go
here's the
back,
thing is, like, I
go
don't
back
want
and
that
watch.
Hennessy.
Go back and watch, Ed. He could not execute a stretch run.
He couldn't get.
Handoff.
Oh, I
couldn't get-
watched.
He couldn't
He was,
get
like,
the
hopping.
ball to the running back.
until
on a
they
stretch run.
shot him up. Until they shot him up and taped
No,
him.
no. This was after they shot him up and taped him up. This was later
Oh,
in the
yeah,
second
okay.
half, after he had been like, he probably had enough Toradol in his system to kill a horse.
Well, there's
Again,
no way he could.
shovel passes should be fumbles. Just saying.
But
Especially
he
on one
couldn't-
leg.
He couldn't take 2 steps on that ankle to execute he was like it looked like the sniper got him from the top of the building as he tried to execute a handoff.
now Joe Tooney will be back for the Chiefs. He wasn't there the first matchup. What's his name? Because Tony, he wasn't in that first matchup. We also lost
Kadarius
Hayden.
Toney.
Yes, we also lost Hayden Hurst at the beginning of that. I think that was Jamar Chase's first game back. Maybe we didn't have Mixon.
Yeah.
I don't think
So
Pacheco was. I don't think Pacheco was even their running back in the first matchup.
There was a lot
He
of
were
was a beast in that game, right?
They were
Yeah.
still running with. They were still running with Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
That's when P. Ryan established himself. Like people were like, sit
'Cause he-
Joe. Sit
Because
Joe.
because he bounced the guy who was talking shit's head
Yeah.
off the fucking turf.
Justin
That was
Reed.
great.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody tweeted and asked, "What are the chances that Higbee plays this week?" That's funny, but no, I think 24-14 Bengals. Is
So-
what the score's gonna be.
Thank you. And this is the only reason why I gave Kansas City 7 is I do believe Travis Kelce will score a touchdown.
The Bengals have kind of. I mean,
If it's Chad Henne, they're going to throw to Travis Kelce 63 times
Oh yeah,
because
But I
he
think-
knows how to get open every time.
as anything is possible.
yeah, because and here's the thing. I love Travis Kelce.
Well done.
You-
that was
you-
good, Ed. That was
you
good.
see-
Henne-
They said that a
anything
bunch
is-
of they said that a lot during the
anything is
broadcast.
possible.
I didn't watch the Chiefs game because I hate them.
Oh yeah,
But-
Travis said it in the post game interview.
But with Travis Kelce, I love him. He
Damn, wish I could keep credit for that.
He is the master of the push off to get open.
Yeah.
Like that dude. It is incredible because there's no way that every team that they play is like, we're just not going to cover Travis Kelce. He's going to be wide open. They never show right before he catches. They just show him catching the ball. And you're like, how the hell was Travis Kelce like have a 5-yard bubble around him? And then if you look back at it, you can see it's because the defender that was on him is now sliding across the field because he launched him and they don't call it. And that's fine because he knows.
It
they're
looks
not
like
gonna call
what
it.
Jason did to that lineman from the
Oh my
from-
god.
when he
Yeah.
just took him with one arm and said "spunk."
That was also a funny play whenever they called the false start
That
on
was
the
pretty funny.
they called the false start on the entire Eagles offensive line except for
Yeah.
the center.
Has that ever happened? So say
Yeah.
unfortunately the Bengals do lose. Have we ever had brother versus brother in the Super Bowl?
No, it's never happened.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Wasn't
No.
Jim?
It's
No, it
never
wouldn't,
happened.
Ed.
No,
We don't wanna see
coaches.
it.
What weren't
The Harbaugh
Jim and John?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jim and John went against each other.
Yeah, but I'm
but
talking
two
about
brothers
players.
have never
Yeah.
played against each other in a Super Bowl.
But
Dude,
again,
could you imagine?
just-
Could you imagine
just
New
for
Heights that
context,
week?
That's the only time that happened, though. Just for context, that two brothers actually went against each other in the Super Bowl.
The Kelsey Bowl would be pretty big in this household. We've committed a lot to the Kelsey name.
I don't want to see it. I'm sorry.
I don't either.
Make a pretty good game.
I don't think it ends well for Travis if that's the case, but
think so either.
I probably not, but I named her after Jason, so it would only be bad for Kelsey, my daughter.
How do we get this on the New Heights? How do we get a shout out for Kelsey on the New Heights podcast?
Jason knows. Like I've introduced him to Kelsey. He knows. He's acknowledged. He's like, oh yeah, she wants to be named after Travis, but she's stuck being named after the big scary guy with
the lumberjack.
Yeah.
That signed a baby's forehead this weekend.
We had I was called him. Like I called him one time in the car and we were talking about something and we had this conversation and I was like, yeah, Kelsey's back. She's named after you, but she says she's named after Travis. I keep telling her that she was born in 2010 and Travis wasn't allowed to play football in 2010. He's a fucking idiot. So she wasn't named after. He's like, he's the pretty one. I get it. she's a 10-year-old girl at the time.
You miss a golden parenting moment where after Philly wins the Super Bowl and Jason Kelsey goes up in his ridiculous, amazing outfit.
In the mummer's outfit, yeah.
You should have bought her a jersey right then and there.
No, see, you don't understand, Aaron. I showed her a picture of Jason when she was 4, and I said, "This is who you're named after," and she was like, "Oh hell no, I'm not."
Frame it, and put it in her room yourself. On the wall.
If the Eagles win the Super Bowl over the Chiefs, we're going to Philly for the parade, and I'm letting Jason know, like, you're going to embarrass this kid in an epic fashion, some way, shape, or form.
Be careful with Philly. They steal cars even from football players who just won a game.
Wild.
Aaron.
How are those not locked up?
It was a Kia.
I don't have a Kia.
We'll see you in a Kia.
Aaron. Kansas City. Bengals score.
Bengals win.
No, 30, Chad, you can come back here.
34-20.
34-20.
I'm trying to let you guys have your show, but I'm not good at it.
Well,
we need your score
prediction.
You can't just be in here and then
he doesn't. Chad doesn't like predictions. He hates
care.
predictions.
I hate predictions.
Well,
it's fine.
You've been on the show too much tonight.
I know you gave one last week, so I don't remember what it was, but I know you did.
I didn't write these down again. Remind me to go after the episode to write these down.
I think the big, what I keep going back to with Kansas City.
I'm texting you.
Is how many times at the end of the season they struggled with bad teams or below average teams. You know what I mean? Like that they narrowly escaped like 3 or 4 times.
The Patriots most recently.
Unless
you say Baltimore was bad. I don't know that Baltimore was bad.
27-24 Cincinnati.
Ooh.
Okay.
They've won each of the past 3 by 3.
Yeah.
I think they do it again. I'm not ready to say it's Money Mac at the gun again.
Oh, you think it's a touchdown at the gun?
No, I think it's a touchdown with
and a defensive
90 seconds left, and then the defense gets the job done to close the deal.
Against Chad Henne or against Patrick Mahomes?
I was going to say, who do you think is playing? I just feel like what Chad was saying is right, that with the line swinging the way it was,
Vegas
I know
knows
there were
something, man.
What was your prediction?
80%, 70 to 80% of the money
is on
the Bengals. That scares me a little bit too, though.
And what's your prediction?
I just texted
27-24. What 27-24?
Oh, Chad, I got yours.
Well, I didn't know that you were referring to, Ed.
I said Aaron.
No, you said, what's your prediction?
He did say Aaron had cut out. I caught it. That's why I said I texted it to you.
This is how Kelly has communicated with me for the past 3 weeks. Eye rolls.
Sounds about right. That's how we all communicate with you. It's not newsflash. It's not the last 3 weeks. It's the last 30 years.
45.
All right,
No, you had 15 years of grace.
Oh, I started way before I was 15, bro. That shit started the minute a word came out of my mouth.
I meant her toleration.
Yeah. No, we've been together for 23, so 23. I'm sure the first night we met, she rolled her eyes at some point in time about this fucking idiot.
Where do I place that bet?
Over under 0.5 days. I'm taking the under.
All right, you guys got anything else we want to put out there?
Scott Rowland.
Oh yeah, Scott Rowland. See, I don't want to talk about the Reds because they've already cut like 30% of their payroll.
More payroll than anybody else in baseball.
And Nick Kral's like, we're not adding anybody else, so back it in, root for these guys.
But I guess my question is, I can't root for Scott Rowland going into the Hall of Fame.
Because
that's a St. Louis Cardinal.
Yeah,
that's a St. Louis Cardinal.
He did so good here, though.
Did they win a World Series, Ed?
Oh, they didn't. They were never going to fucking World Series again.
Did they make the NLCS, Ed, with Scott Rowland?
They
never successful. Never successful because we never won a World Series.
Yep, it's all bad.
Did they win a playoff series with Scott Rowland, Ed?
They didn't.
No, we don't want a playoff series in.
That's a St. Louis Cardinal. I'm out.
Bob Huggins sucked. He never won a national championship.
Never made a championship game.
Unsuccessful.
Did you hear that? Did you hear Ed, Chad? He said he said, would you rather have if
there was no rather. There was no rather.
He said if Bob Huggins made the championship game every year and lost, would that be successful?
If you're
fans in this town would have hated him eventually.
Bingo. Thank you, Chad. Thank you.
Eventually.
Because there are people like you.
The question wasn't
because there are people like you.
The question wasn't.
No, I would.
People hate him. The question was, is that successful? Yes, it is.
Successful as shit.
That's wildly successful.
Okay. The only other.
Aaron, just get us out of here.
Two different things. The only other lightning round thing I saw today, Michael Jordan is now dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. Michael Jordan's son is dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
That's been going on forever.
It's been a thing.
Get us out of here, Aaron.
That's the show. Another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. We're going to do better on potentially having a lightning round and all of that. But until next Tuesday, for Ed, for Jeff, for Chad, and myself, we will see you next week, 9:15 on Tuesday. Hoo day. See ya.
Hoo day.
Ta-da.